The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, is honestly like talking about the middle child of a family who just happens to be on steroids. It's the awkward bridge between the beginning and the end, but somehow, Peter Jackson managed to turn this walking simulator into one of the most stressful, high-octane action movies ever made. Seriously, if you think about it, the Fellowship is broken, Boromir is dead, RIP to the realest one, and now we have 3 separate plot lines running at the same time, which is a nightmare for anyone with a short attention span. But we eat it up anyway, because we are obsessed. Let's start with the 3 Hunters plotline, which is basically Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli running a marathon across New Zealand. I swear, 90% of the first hour is just wide shots of them jogging while the soundtrack goes absolutely hard for no reason. It's just cardio. And then you have Legolas, who has officially activated his cheat codes in this movie. The guy is looking at the horizon and seeing things happening 3 days ahead. He says stuff like, "They're taking the hobbits to Isengard," which became a meme that ruined my childhood. But at the time, we thought he was so cool. Meanwhile, Gimli is just there suffering. The poor dwarf is sprinting with his little legs, huffing and puffing, and basically being the comic relief because apparently dwarves are just meant to be laughed at when they aren't swinging axes. It's kind of disrespectful, but also hilarious, so I'll allow it. They are chasing the Uruk-hai, who have kidnapped Merry and Pippin. Now, can we talk about the Uruk-hai for a second? These guys are literally bred from mud and hate, yet they have a structured menu? The line, "Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys," implies the existence of Uruk-hai restaurants, which keeps me up at night. Merry and Pippin, by the way, are proving that you can survive a war just by being lucky and small. They managed to escape into Fangorn Forest, which is basically a retirement home for angry trees. This is where the pacing of the movie takes a massive nosedive, but in a weirdly charming way. They meet Treebird. Now, I love the Ents, I really do, but listening to them talk is like waiting for a dial-up internet connection in 1999. It takes them 10 minutes to say hello. If I were Pippin, I would have lost my mind. But somehow, this leads to one of the best eco-terrorist revenge plots in cinema history. Back to the runners. They meet Éomer and the Rohirrim. These guys are the biker gang of Middle-earth, except with horses and better hair. The tension here is palpable. Everyone has their spears out. Aragorn is trying to be diplomatic, and Gimli is ready to bite kneecaps. It's pure testosterone. Then we get into Fangorn, and surprise, Gandalf is back. But he's not just Gandalf, he's Gandalf the White now. He literally fought a demon made of fire and shadow, fell down a mountain, died, had a meeting with the universe's management, and got sent back with a power upgrade and freshly bleached robes. It's honestly such a flex. He shows up and basically says, "Yeah, I'm the head of the order now. Saruman is a hack." He doesn't even have time to explain everything. He just whistles for Shadowfax, the lord of all horses, who runs in chaotic slow motion. That horse has better acting skills than some humans I know. Now, let's switch lanes to Frodo and Sam. This part of the movie is a psychological horror film disguised as an adventure. They're lost in the rocky wasteland of Emyn Muil, walking in circles, miserable, hungry, and paranoid. It's like a really bad camping trip that never ends. Then they catch Gollum. Andy Serkis deserves an Oscar for this, and I will die on this hill. Gollum is a wretched little creature, a junkie addicted to a piece of jewelry talking to himself. The split personality scenes between Smeagol, the good boy, and Gollum, the toxic ex, are cinematic gold. You almost feel bad for him. He's pathetic. Frodo, being the bleeding heart that he is, decides to trust him, which drives Sam absolutely crazy. Samwise Gamgee is the only person in this entire trilogy with common sense. He looks at Gollum and sees a walking red flag, but Frodo is too busy suffering from the ring's influence to notice. They go through the dead marshes, which is pure nightmare fuel. Faces of dead soldiers floating in the water? No thanks. Frodo falls in, of course, because Frodo's main job in this movie is to fall down, look pale, and clutch his chest while Sam does the heavy lifting. I love Frodo, but the man is a liability. Meanwhile, in Rohan, we find King Theoden, who looks like he's been dead for 3 weeks. He's possessed by Saruman and being whispered to by Grima Wormtongue. Grima is the ultimate incel prototype, pale, greasy, spying on Éowyn, and just generally making everyone's skin crawl. Gandalf walks into the hall like he owns the place. They tell him to leave his staff outside, and the guards just let him keep it because he says, "Oh, it's just a walking stick for an old man." The guards are undoubtedly the worst security team in history. You had one job, guys. Then, Gandalf exorcises Saruman out of Theoden. It's dramatic, it's loud, and Theoden literally de-ages 20 years in 5 seconds. He goes from a crumbling corpse to a majestic king, grabs a sword, and suddenly remembers he has an army. It's the ultimate glow-up montage. But Theoden decides to retreat to Helm's Deep. Bad move, bro. He thinks it's a fortress that can't be breached, which is movie code for "this place is definitely getting breached." It's a massive stone trap, and he's leading his people right into a corner while Saruman breeds 10,000 Uruk-hai to wipe them out. We also get some romance subplot scraps here. Éowyn has a crush on Aragorn. It's painful to watch because Aragorn is clearly thinking about Arwen, his immortal elf girlfriend who is currently brooding in Rivendell. Éowyn brings him stew that looks like dishwater, and he eats it to be polite. That is true bravery.
Let's talk about Saruman's army. The scene where he stands on the balcony of Orthanc and looks down at tens of thousands of Uruk-hai roaring, it sends chills down your spine. It's industrial warfare. He's building bombs, mining the earth, tearing down trees. He is the ultimate toxic capitalist villain. Back to the trees. Treebeard sees what Saruman did to the forest and he snaps. The last march of the Ents is so satisfying. Seeing giant walking trees throwing rocks at an industrial complex and breaking a dam to flood the place is the catharsis we needed after watching them talk for 2 hours. But the main event, the crown jewel of this movie, is the Battle of Helm's Deep. This is it. This is the standard for all siege battles in cinema. If you try to make a battle scene today, you are being compared to Helm's Deep, and you will probably lose. It's raining, it's dark, and the sense of dread is overwhelming. You see the old men and young boys being suited up in armor that doesn't fit. It's heartbreaking. The movie does a great job of showing you that war isn't cool. It's terrifying and desperate. Then the elves show up. Haldir marches in with a battalion of elves, which didn't happen in the book, and the purists screamed, but I don't care because it looked awesome. It gave us a sliver of hope right before everything went to hell. The battle starts and it is chaotic perfection. Ladders going up, arrows flying, Gimli and Legolas playing a video game contest of who can kill the most bad guys. It adds this layer of absurd humor in the middle of a massacre that somehow works perfectly. Then the Uruk-hai bring out the suicide bomber with the torch. Legolas tries to shoot him down, yelling, "Tagog!" or whatever, but the guy is essentially an Olympic sprinter on fire. He blows up the wall. The deeping wall is breached. The panic that sets in is visceral. Aragorn goes into beast mode. He tosses Gimli onto the bridge. Don't tell the elf. They are fighting overwhelming odds. Haldir dies, which is tragic because he was the only elf besides Legolas who had any screen time, and it reminds us that even the cool guys aren't safe. Meanwhile, Frodo and Sam are in Osgiliath because the movie decided to take a detour from the books again. They meet Faramir, Boromir's brother. Faramir in the movie is kind of a jerk initially, trying to take the ring to his daddy, Denethor, to prove his worth. Daddy issues are a recurring theme in this franchise. Sam gives his legendary speech here. There's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. It's the moment where grown men cry. It cuts between the speech and the victories happening across Middle-earth. It's manipulative filmmaking at its finest, and I fall for it every single time. Back at Helm's Deep, things look hopeless. The king is trapped in the keep, the sun is rising, and then Gandalf, The absolute madman told them, "Look to my coming on the first light of the 5th day, at dawn, look to the east." And he actually did it. He's punctual. Gandalf appears on the ridge with Éomer and the Rohirrim riders. The sun blinds the Uruk-hai, tactical genius, and they charge down the slope. It is the most epic cavalry charge in history. The music swells, the violins go crazy, and the Uruk-hai get absolutely trampled. It is pure dopamine. The Ents destroy Isengard, the Rohirrim save Helm's Deep, the good guys win, but it doesn't feel like a total victory. It feels like they survived by the skin of their teeth. The shadow of Mordor is still looming. We end with Gollum plotting to kill the hobbits by leading them to her. We don't know who her is yet, but judging by Gollum's creepy face, it's not going to be a tea party. The movie ends on a cliffhanger, leaving us exhausted, emotionally drained, and desperate for the next one. In conclusion, The Two Towers is a masterpiece of pacing, spectacle, and character development. It took the setup of the first movie and raised the stakes to an impossible level. It showed us that even when things are dark and the world is literally burning, there is still hope, usually in the form of a wizard on a white horse or a gardener who refuses to give up. It's not just a movie, it's a cultural event. It's the reason why we expect so much from fantasy. It gave us memes, it gave us tears, and it gave us Legolas skateboard sliding down a staircase on a shield while shooting arrows, which is the dumbest, coolest thing ever filmed. So yeah, if you think this movie is just walking and talking, you are watching it wrong. It's a survival horror, a war epic, and a buddy comedy rolled into one giant, beautiful mess, and I wouldn't have it any other way.